Hello and welcome back to another Bad Movie Reviews review hosted by your two favourite whimsical chocolatiers. Well, I don't know if you are actually, but I definitely love me chockies. But
Don't mind Chucky.
Ben and Daniel, and we are reviewing a film that we have both been looking forward to for quite some time. I actually think this was on our most anticipated for 2023, but it is none other than, if you didn't pick it up, then read a book or something on what we're reviewing. But it is definitely, you will know, it's in the title, it is Wonka.
Yes.
Wonka. But none other than Paul King's Wonka. And if you don't know who Paul King is, he is the director of this film, but probably most famously known for directing the two Paddington films, which unironically are two of the greatest films of all time.
Some of his favourites.
Some of everyone's favourites. I think it's in the top,
they're
top
pretty
10 highest reviewed film on Letterboxd, I'm pretty sure. But yes, if you don't know what the film is about, it is basically, I guess, an origin story. You know, when you hear of origin stories, they're mainly regarding like superheroes and things like that. But origin story of Willy Wonka and how he came to be the man, the myth, the legend, the chocolatier himself.
The connoisseur of chocolates.
Yes, yeah, exactly. But no, without further ado, I'd love to know what you think and what your review is on the film. Good start.
It's the movie. The movie has me speechless. It was kind of like watching the original for the first time. Like, I was surprisingly filled with so much joy and love and excitement, and it was a captivating universe that was beautifully acted out by Timothée Chalamet himself, who's, you know, we very highly rate. Probably so do a lot of other people, but he's absolutely fantastic. I felt like a little kid again. This movie was fucking fantastic. The first thing I said, I'll see if I can unlock my phone. No one else will be able to see this except Ben. But I just sent a GIF to the girls at work of, it's just Wonka, and then I just said, go fucking watch it. And you know what? I was absolutely captivated by this film. I knew I was always going to have a great time, and I think that was always going to be expected. Whether it was going to be a great movie was a different thing. That's a different subject itself, to having a great time. This was both for me. This had a nice universe that was built, that was easy to kind of digest and really delve into. Some lovable characters, including the man himself, but also every other supporting cast were enjoyable enough that they complemented the film without taking too much away from the limelight per se. I really enjoyed this. The original scores were fantastic, and obviously some of the what's the word? Not remake, but remastering, throwback to some older songs, or maybe even some older references too throughout the film. Was absolutely phenomenal. It's still humming in my head. You know, some of the tunes from this film. It was beautiful. Sound design was absolutely fantastic. It was both understandable because it was, you know, real, but it had its own, I don't know what the like fantasy kind of like take on this for the audio design. It created sounds you never heard that were really so captivating. I just had a bloody great time with this film. I actually don't even know where to go with like words with what's next. It was shot really well, directed fantastically behind the camera. Cinematography was awesome. The choreography, that's the word, isn't it? For
The dancing
and things. Yeah, I was going to say cardiography, and I was like, no, that's maps. I think. Anyway, choreography, absolutely fantastic, and I always love seeing, main cast as part of that too. Sometimes when you get like choreography in a film, sometimes the main cast don't get fully involved. Maybe they slightly do because they're kind of the main focal point, and all the like cool dancing and things are just part of it. But like everyone was fully involved in that, and that was absolutely unreal. But I'm just going to keep jabbling on. I really need you to put out some words so I can put some thoughts together. What did you think of this film? How did?
No, it was more than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
The best way I can put it is, like, I'm a huge fan of the original with Gene Wilder, and Gene Wilder is probably one of the best actors of all time. So it's very hard to obviously, and it's such an incredible performance of the original Willy Wonka that it's very hard to obviously go toe-to-toe with that.
Yeah.
So I wasn't expecting anything in that regard. Like, I wasn't expecting the most brilliant performance, but the best thing I can say is he stands on his own 2 feet. Timothy Chalamet, and it is a drastic departure from what we're used to seeing him in. Like, obviously, if you know of his internet presence and his, infamous Timmy Tim, he sings like raps and dances at his like college stuff. It's quite funny, but when you see him in Dune, Bones and All, like Call Me by Your Name, he's usually in these very, very heavy dramatic roles that are quite full on, and he shows his acting chops. But this is obviously a lot more on the lighter side. But man, he did it all. He sang, he danced, he did an incredible performance. The film itself, I never in once doubted Paul King. I actually genuinely thought to myself, like, I've not smiled like this in the cinema since seeing Paddington 2. Or because like there's no way to put it other than the fact that his films just have this irresistible charm to them. The way he directs the films as well, they have such like an intricacy to them, and they're always like whimsical and magical, and it's like it's a perfect film for him to do. All the supporting cast was great, and the amount of visual comedy in this film as well was top tier. But it's honestly the best way I can put it is it made me feel like a child again, and it's got such great themes and meanings. Like, it's not exactly like a Trolls film where like 2-year-olds can go see it and enjoy it because of all the colors. Like, everyone in the world could go see this film and take something out of it. And it's like, whether it is to feel like a kid again, if it's about, family, loved ones, like following your dream. It's got such great thematical explorations within the film, and everything is beautiful on screen as well. Like, it's probably up there with like Barbie in terms of like the color palette on screen. It's very vibrant. It's very full on. The cinematography, the costume design is fantastic.
The costume,
the production design is also fantastic. It's obviously, I don't exactly know when it's supposed to be set, but it's obviously a very old
1920s to look like.
Yeah, a very obviously old location time. But man, it's just I've not had a time like that in the cinema where I'm not saying it's the best film of the year, but it's like I just had the funnest time, like no care. Like, it wasn't like, it did get me a little bit as well, like emotional wise.
Yeah.
Like, it's and I think that's props to Timothy Chalamet, like his acting chops, even if it's just the way he uses his eyes, and he's actually like, mark my words, he'll probably go down at the end of his career as one of the best actors of all time. Because it'd actually make me feel sick if I know how old he is, because I'm 27, I've done nothing with my life, and he is, however old he is, probably the same age. But he's already nominated for, my age, fuck me, 27, and nominated for like 3 Academy Awards and done all these incredible performances, and it's only just beginning for him, like, really.
Yeah.
But man, I loved this film. I think it's fantastic. I wouldn't be opposed to seeing Paul King do another one, to be honest. But at the same time, I do think it's actually, I obviously referenced Barbie before. Like, I would not be opposed. I love Barbie, and I would not be opposed to seeing a sequel. But at the same time, I think it's such a perfect film on its own as well. That, like, whether you make a sequel, you obviously got to live up to that. But it's obviously, the best thing I can say is it's obviously a very hard film to make, just because I've excluded the Tim Burton version for every possible reason, which I won't get into. But the original with Gene Wilder is one of my favourite films of all time. I watched it religiously growing up with my dad, and it's like, it does hold a special place in my heart. And it's like, I feel so happy that like kids growing up nowadays will be able to watch something like this.
That was one of my first thoughts.
Like,
too.
There's obviously a lot of kids films out there, like, amazing kids films like How to Train Your Dragon, which have come out recently, even like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and it's like they're good films, but this is like just something that has beautiful messaging, beautiful themes. It's a great time. The music is fantastic. I've said this before when we've reviewed musicals. Any musical that comes out where the music is elevating the world they're in, where they're obviously in a very odd world with all the characters. Like, it elevates the world they're in. It elevates the story. It moves the story along, and it has deeper meaning behind each song as well. It's something that takes props to obviously whoever wrote the songs and the lyrics. But it's just, I'm just happy that kids will have something to grow up on that they can watch like this. I really hope it does well at the box office.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if it makes like $1 billion, but I would also not be surprised if it also underperforms. So it's like, I kind of really want this to do well.
Is there many other kids' movies out of the moment? Other than
Trolls.
Migration that's coming out
Trolls.
shortly.
Trolls. Migration will come out shortly. Wish obviously comes out soon. It's just one of those. This is one of those films though that like I think obviously the children are probably more like a little bit older. Like you take your toddlers to your 4-year-olds to Trolls,
Yeah.
whereas you might take your 10-year-old kid to this. But it's something the whole family like. I can imagine recommending my 55-year-old dad to see this,
Or
and
literally
he'll be like that was fantastic, and my mum would say the same. It's just I can't praise this film enough. As I said, it's very difficult to stand on its own 2 feet when dealing with such a classic film in the realm of the original, and the realm of the original performance of Gene Wilder. But hats off to Paul King, hats off to Timothée Chalamet. They held this film on their own 2 feet, elevated it in their own way. And it is a fantastic movie. That is all I can say.
Yeah, there's not many movies that make me laugh or make me smile or make me emotional, and this kind of.
You'd have to be pretty odd to not smile in this film. I must
I'm
admit,
still smiling. I can't help it.
Yeah, the whole review.
I bloody wanted to run to the car. I was full of that much I don't know, passion. I don't know. It was great.
Yeah. I wonder if the soundtrack will be released on vinyl, because I would buy that and pump it on and make it my morning coffee in the morning. But if you have seen it, I know it's come out internationally. I know it came out in Japan, I think, recently, but I think it is out in America this coming Friday or so. So we have seen this a little bit early, obviously due to Australian release times. But if you have seen it, or once you do see it, I'd love to know what you think. Comment below. And if you like our reviews, give the thumbs up button and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, guys.